Hello everyone, welcome to Nilanjana's exclusive English lessons. Today we are going to start the lesson The Girl Who Can, written by Emma Atta Aidu, an author from Ghana, Africa. And in this story, she has conveyed the message, the importance of women empowerment. Women have more roles that they can offer in the society rather than just being wives or mothers. In this story, the author has portrayed the social criticism, the social pressures often felt by a girl child. And let's explore the story and understand it further. Okay, they say that I was born in Hazodzi, and it is a very big village in the central region of our country, Ghana. Now, this story, you will see that it is the author is narrating the story from a child's perspective. Okay, so they say means who the people say that. Okay, I was born in Hazodzi. It's the name of the place, and it's a very big village in the central region of our country, Ghana. They also say that when all of Africa is not choking under a drought, Hazodzi lies in a very fertile lowland in a district known for its good soil. Drought is a continuous period where you don't have any rainfall, and of course, that affects the growth of crops. Maybe that is why anytime I don't finish eating my food, Nana says, you, Joa, you don't know what life is about. You don't know what problems there are in this life. So, who is Nana? Nana is Joa's grandmother. And she obviously rebukes the child at times when she does not complete or finish her food. She just tries to remind her that, you are lucky to get the food on your plate. There are many people who may not be as lucky as you, so therefore don't waste food. As far as I could see, there was only one problem, and it had nothing to do with what I knew Nana considered as problems or what Mommy thinks of as the problem. Who is Mommy? Mommy is my mother. The story we have women of three generation. Okay, the first one is the girl Joa, who is the protagonist. The second one is the mother Mommy, and the third one is Nana, who is her grandmother. So it's a story about women of three generation. Okay, and their conflicting thoughts and mindset. Nana is my mother's mother, so Nana is my grandmother, and they say I am 7 years old, and my problem is that at the 7 years of age there are things I can think in my head, but which maybe I do not have the proper language to speak them out with. What does this mean? That probably she is not able to voice her thoughts. She has a lot of things in her mind. She wants to say a lot. She wants to express her thoughts, her views, her emotions, but she does not have the proper way. At times, she's unable to voice her thoughts. And that is, I think, is a very serious problem because it is always difficult to decide whether to keep quiet and not say any of the things that come into my head or say them and get laughed at. So at times she kept quiet because she thought that she would be laughed at. People will crack jokes on her. Sometimes when a child speaks her thoughts, elders, they don't consider it to be serious, and they often they don't take the children seriously. But what the author is trying to say that at times children also speak something very meaningful, but we elders, maybe we are in our world and we don't give them that importance. Not that it is easy to get any grown up to listen to you even when you decide to take the risk and say something serious to them. So what is she trying to say? That it is very difficult for her to voice her thoughts, and often people make fun of her, especially grown ups. Take Nana. So who's Nana? As I told you, it's a grandmother. Take Nana. First, I have to struggle to catch her attention. Then I tell her something I had taken a long time to figure out. And then you know that what always happens. She would at once stop whatever she's doing and mouth open stare at me for a very long time. So what does this mean? That Nana would be amazed that how can a small girl talk something, so mature, or maybe talk something which is not in her jurisdiction, and that this is how she would react, stare at me for a long time. Then bending and turning her head slightly so that one ear comes down towards me, she will say in that voice, in that voice. So what voice? Adjoa, you say what? After I have repeated whatever I had said, she would either still in that voice ask me, never, never, but never to repeat that. Okay, so this is how the grandmother would react after a Joe would say something which she's not supposed to say. She would laugh and laugh and laugh until tears run down her cheeks, and she would stop whatever she is doing and wipe away the tears with the hanging edges of her clothes. So she would make fun of her. And she would continue laughing until she is completely tired. But then, as soon as another person comes by, just to make sure he does not forget whatever it was I had said, she would repeat it to her. Now, this is the height of humiliation. Often we elders unknowingly do it with, kids, with children. So what would this grandmother do? First of all, she would have a nice laugh when she heard something, whatever Arjoa said. And after that, when another person would come by, she would again narrate the same thing to the second person, and again they would have a laugh about it. And then, of course, there would be two old people laughing and screaming with tears running down their faces. Sometimes this show continues until there are three, four, or even more of such laughing and screaming, tear faced grown ups, and all that performance on whatever I had said. I find something quite confusing in all this. That is, no one ever explains to me why sometimes I should not repeat some things I say, while at other times some other things I say would not only be alright, but would be considered so funny they would be repeated so many times for so many people's enjoyment. So, what is she trying to say? That people would often laugh at her, especially her own family members, her own grandmother, and not only that, she would again narrate the story to someone else, maybe a group of people, and again they would have a laugh on the same matter. So Arjoa would, most of the time, she would be either silenced, like her grandmother would not allow her to open her mouth. And the second thing that she would often do is ridicule. Ridicule the child. Ridicule is another word for making fun of somebody. So, what was Arjoa's reaction? Like, she would get confused that why is my grandmother asking me not to say certain things? And even if I would have said certain things, why is she mocking? Why is she ridiculing me? At the end of the day, Arjoa is a very small girl. Like, she's around 7 years. She's 7 years old. And definitely, she's innocent, right? At this age, children are innocent. And out of innocence, they often say certain things, but the elders often they don't consider it to be. They don't actually lend a ear. Lending a ear to children are also very important. Children want to say a lot of things, and you need to hear them out. Okay, let's get back. Um, all right, people's enjoyment. You see how neither way of hearing me out can encourage me to express my thoughts too often. So Arjo is often not comfortable to express her thoughts because obviously if somebody reacts like this, how would you want to express? Now, like all this business to do with my legs, and this is the crux of the story. Arjo had very weak legs, very thin legs. All right. I have always wanted to tell them not to worry. I mean Nana and my mother, that it did not have to be an issue for my two favorite people to fight over. But I did not want either to be told not to repeat that or it to be considered so funny that anyone would laugh at me until they cried. After all, they were my legs. When I think back on it now, those two, Nana and my mother, must have been discussing my legs from the day I was born. So, from the day she was born, she had thin and quite weak legs according to their perspective. Obviously, the story has something else to offer. What I am sure is that when I came out of the land of sweet, soft silence in the world of noise and comprehension, the first topic that I met was my legs. She came out of the land of sweet, soft silence is when she was not born, when she was in her mother's womb. And when she came out into the world of noise and comprehension, this is the world when we are born, this is the world we all enter, right? So, the moment she had developed her understanding of the world, the first thing that had hit her mind was that every time the repeated discussion about her legs. Now, what do we call this? In one way, definitely, once again, it is body shaming. right? We already did a lesson on body shaming, and that was with the photographer, right? Those who have not understood or those who have not gone through the explanation, I would share the link in the description box. After this story, you can listen to that. That's also an amazing story, and that also teaches us that, how we should not body shame anyone. Okay, let's get back. That discussion was repeated very regularly. Nana, Kaya, I thank my God that your very first child is female. But Kaya, I'm not sure about her legs. Now, who is Kaya? Kaya is Joa's mother's name. Her mother, her name is Kaya. Okay, so what is the now? What is the grandmother telling that? See, I thank my God that your very first child is female. I'm very thankful, but I'm not sure about her legs. She's making that kind of a contemplative statement, like something is wrong with her legs. And Nana would shake her head. Mommy, mother, why are you always complaining about Ajoa's legs? If you ask me, now, mommy also does not like her child to be all the time ridiculed and humiliated, reminded again and again that her legs were weak. So she didn't like it. But somehow Nana was more assertive and she had that dominating tone. So she said, they are too thin and I'm not asking you. See the tone. I'm not asking you. They are too thin. This is my opinion and you have to accept it. So I'm not asking you. What kind of a tone is this? A very, very assertive tone. Nana has many voices. There's a special one which she uses. She uses to shut everyone up. So she has the voice of authority. She's very strong and dominating. Some people have no legs at all. My mother would try again with her small courage. See, the mother had small courage. She, in a feeble voice, in a very feeble voice, she would try to reason out that, mother, at least my daughter has legs. There are people who do not, they are born in a very challenging situation. They don't have legs at all. But a Joa has legs, Nana would insist, except that they are too thin and also too long for a woman. Now see, women needs to have, women needs to fit into that description that we all have created in our mind. Kaya, listen, once in a while, but only once in a very long while, somebody decides nature. A child, spirit, mother, an accident happens and somebody gets born without arms or legs or both set of limbs. And then let me touch wood. It is a sad business. And such things are not talking about every day. But if any female child decides to come into this world with legs, then they might um, as well be legs. Yeah. Actually, I've taken this. I'm sharing the screen, and maybe some words are not clear. So I advise all of you to keep the text in front of you. Okay. What kind of legs? And yes, one more thing, those who think that this explanation is good enough, helping you, making it crystal clear for you, each and every word I'm covering, I'm trying to put in all the analysis, all the things that you need to know as I'm explaining. So if you think it is helpful, do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel and please share it with your friends and somebody who would benefit. What kind of legs? And always at that point, I knew from her voice that my mother was weeping inside. Obviously, the mother would never feel good, right? If somebody's child is humiliated like this. Nana never heard such inside weeping. So, yeah, at times she was insensitive. Not that it would have stopped Nana, even if she had heard it, which always surprised me. Because about almost everything apart from my legs, Nana is such a good grown up. That means otherwise the lady was quite good. See, grandmothers, grandparents are very loving, very enduring towards their grandchildren. Grandparents, they always share a very lovable bond with their grandchildren. And I can vouch for that. I think all of you would agree with this, right? So this is what Arjoy is telling, that otherwise Nana is so good. But only when it comes to this discussion, she is so judgmental, right? She's so judgmental, continuously judges me about my legs, my looks, my role, that how I would fit as a role, as a woman in the society. In any case, what do I know about good grown-ups and bad grown-ups? How could Nana be a good grown-up when she carried on so about my legs? All I want to say is that I really liked Nana except for that. So the girl definitely loved Nana, her grandmother, but this is one thing that actually often made her feel down. Nana, as I keep saying, if any woman decides to come into this world with all of her two legs, then she would select legs that have meat on them. That have meat on them means legs which would be fleshy, with good calves, because you are sure such legs would support solid hips. And a woman must have solid hips to be able to have children. But this is the main mindset of Nana, and this is also the mindset of the people in the society that women should be good enough to become a wife and also good enough to become a mother. That's the only two roles that we have kept in our mind. We have stereotyped women that they should be good as wives and good as mothers. And in order to be a good wife and a good mother, you need to have legs which are strong so that you can bear a child. Okay, and this is where we need to break the stereotype. We need to break this social taboo. Okay, oh mother, that's how my mother would answer, very, very quietly. So she didn't like. Okay, who did not like? Arjoa's mother, Kaya. She did not like when Nana spoke like this. And the discussion would end or they would move on to something else. Sometimes Nana would pull in something about my father. How? Looking at such a man, we have to be humble and admit that after all, God's children are many. How, after one's only daughter had insisted on marrying a man like that, you still have to thank your God that the biggest problem you got later was having a granddaughter with spindly legs that are too long for a woman and too thin to be of any use. Also, what did Nana do? Nana also referred to Arjua's mother's choice of marrying um, her husband. Okay, like Kaya's husband. She never approved of the man Kaya had married. And although Kaya, Arjuna could not understand a lot of things because she was barely 7 years old, but one thing that she could feel was that such discussions often put her mother down, and she felt very sad, and she often shed the silent tears because the marriage was definitely unfortunate. Because in the story, we have never, we will not see the father anywhere. So probably the mother got separated, and often Nana would accuse Kaya that it was the decision to marry Arjoa's father was definitely wrong. The way she always added that bit about my father under her breath, she probably thought I didn't hear it. So children, they have a very strong hearing power, and I can guarantee that. A lot of things we say in front of children, we consider that, oh, they will not understand, they will not hear. But I'll tell you, we need to be very careful about what we say in front of children because they have very sharp ears and they also understand in their own way. And whatever they understand at a very tender age, it stays with them for a lifetime. You will be very surprised to know that sometimes a child, whatever he or she hears or must have heard when he or she was very small, and then suddenly after 10 years you will realize that when that incident is again repeated and the child tells you, yeah, I know this had happened, I remember. So yes, children remember and they also hear. So the same thing happened with Arjoa, but I always heard it. Plus, this is what always shut my mother up for good, so that even if I had not actually heard the words, once my mother looked like even her little courage was finished, I could always guess what Nana had added to the argument. So the mother would definitely not like these kind of accusations about her husband because maybe the marriage was unfortunate, but again and again, continuously, uh, you know, uh, talking about it, it is like in Hindi we say, no, jale pe namak chirna. So that is the same thing that the mother, the Nana, is trying to do. Legs that have meat on them with good calves support solid hips to be able to have children. So this is what Nana thought. So I wish that one day I would see for myself the legs of any woman who had children. But in our village, that is not easy. The older women wear long wraparounds all the time. So this is the dress, the attire of a woman. In Africa, this is how they dress. Perhaps if they let me go bathe in the river in the evening, I could have checked. But I never had the chance. See, such an innocent thought process the child has. But how will I know that what kind of leg I should have? Only if I see older women, then only I can understand, right? It took a lot of begging just to get my mother and Nana to let me go splash around in the shallow end of the river with my friends who were other little girls like me. For proper baths, we used the small bathhouse behind our hut. Therefore, the only naked female legs I have ever really seen are those of the other little girls like me or older girls in the school. So, how would I know what kind of leg my Nana actually meant that I should have? And those of my mother and Nana, two pairs of legs which must surely belong to the approved kind, because Nana gave birth to my mother and my mother gave birth to me. In my eyes, all my friends have got legs that look like legs, but whether the legs have got meat on them to support the kind of hips that I don't know. So obviously, Nana in her Arjoa in her innocence is telling that I have never seen any older woman what kind of legs they have. The only legs that I have seen are those of girls of my age, a little maybe a little older, but I have never seen a woman's legs in that way. Only yes, I have seen Nana's and my mother's. Probably this is what she means, right? That this is the legs kind of legs I should have. But whether the legs have got meat on them, meat is what? Flesh. Like, you need to be strong. The legs need to be strong. According to the older boys and girls, the distance between our little village and the small town is about 5 kilometers. I don't know what 5 kilometers mean. They always complain about how long it is to walk to school and back. But to me, we live in our village and walking those kilometers did not matter. School is nice. So Ajwa, even though she was living in a very remote village, and the kind of distance that she had to cover every day was quite a lot, but at the end of the day we understand that the girl enjoyed school. She never complained that I cannot walk, oh it's too tiring, and that she never did that. Rather she said school is nice. School is another thing Nana and my mother discussed often and appeared to have different ideas about. See the mindset, okay? A very, very traditional mindset what mother and grandmother had. Nana thought it would be a waste of time. So she never promoted girl child education. I never understood what she meant. My mother seemed to know and disagreed. She kept telling Nana that that is, my mother, felt she was locked into some kind of darkness because she did not go to school. So the poor mother maybe did not, was not able to reason out with Nana because she did not get education, and she knows that her ignorance is probably the result of the lack of education. So that if I, her daughter, could learn to write and read my own name and a little besides, perhaps be able to calculate some things on paper, that would be good. So though the mother did not receive education, she wanted her child to be educated. I could always marry later and maybe. So the mother, though uneducated, she was a person who wanted her child to stand on her own feet, get educated, and marriage was not, on her mind when she thought about her Joanne, her future. Maybe, of course, marriage would wait, but later. Nana would just laugh. Ah, maybe with legs like her, she might as well go to school. So, see what kind of a derogative statement is this? What is she telling? Aha, of course, with this kind of legs, what else she will do? She will only go to school. No, because otherwise she can't do anything. She can't be a good mother. She can't bear a child. So what else? Running with our classmates on our small sports field and winning first place each time. Winning first place each time. See, this is a very important part of the story. Never seemed to me to be anything about which to tell anyone at home. Joa was a girl who was really good at sports. And not only that, every time, whenever she went for those races, like, whenever she ran in the sports field, she would always come out first. But she never thought about discussing this with her mother, or she never thought about telling about this to anybody at home. This time it was different. I don't know how the teachers decided to let me run for the junior section of our school in the district games, but they did. So now Arjua was selected for the district games, and the teachers wanted her to participate, represent the junior section of the school. When I went home to tell my mother and Nana, they had not believed it at first. So Nana had taken it upon herself to go and ask into it properly. So the grandmother, of course, was not ready to believe. She came home to tell my mother that it was really true. I was one of the school's runners. So she went and verified it, okay, in her school. That what is it true that she has to go and represent her school? And when she came home and said that yes, she was one of the school's runners. Is that so? Exclaimed my mother. So, of course, the mother was happy and she was quite elated, overwhelmed. I know her. Her mouth moved as though she was going to tell Nana that, after all, there was a secret about me she couldn't be expected to share with anyone. But when Nana herself looked so pleased out of surprise, my mother shut her mouth up. So the mother was, under the shadow of the grandmother. The mother did not have the power to speak her own thoughts. In any case, since the first time they heard the news, I often caught Nana staring at my legs with a strange look on her face, but still pretending like she was not looking. So Nana often used to stare at her legs at how come this girl runs so fast with such legs. I mean, her legs were so weak; they never had any flesh on them. How does she manage to do, this task, this activity? All this week, she has been washing my school uniform herself. That is a big surprise. And she did not stop at that. She even went to Mr. Mensah's house and borrowed his charcoal pressing iron each time, came back home with it, and ironed and ironed and ironed the uniform until, if I had been the uniform, I would have said aloud that I had had enough. Now, see, there is a change in Nana's behavior, and what can we understand from this? That was she really a bad lady? No. Was she really having any hatred for her granddaughter? No. Because when Nana was chosen to be the runner and she would participate in the district games, it was Nana's enthusiasm that proves the fact that no, she actually loved the child, and she also promoted the fact that she would go and participate in this activity and bring glory for the family and as well as for the school. So she did her part. She washed the uniform. She went and ironed and ironed and kept on ironing, like she wanted to do with a lot of precision. She wanted to do this activity with a lot of perfectness so that nothing goes wrong anywhere. So this is the turning point in the story. And initially, what we can see that Nana did not believe the news. Okay. And Nana, of course, it was very surprising for Arjua that when she saw Nana doing all these things, uh, that slowly and slowly, probably Nana is accepting the fact that she is indeed a good athlete, a good runner. Wearing my school uniform this week has been very nice. At the parade the first afternoon, it caught the rays of the sun and shone brighter than everybody else's uniform. I'm sure Nana saw that too and must have liked it. Yes, she has been coming into town with us every afternoon of this district sports week. Each afternoon, she has pulled one set of fresh old cloths from the big brass bowl to wear, and those old clothes were so stiffly starched you can hear the cloth creak when she passes by. See, when you starch your clothes, like when you starch it really nice, and you can actually feel the crispness, the freshness of the cloths. And Nana took this initiative to wear clean starched clothes and come and see her performance every day. But she walked her way behind the school children as though she was on her way to someplace else. Okay. But she walks way behind the school children. But she did not, come with the other children. She was way behind. And she was trying to maybe show that no, she was going somewhere else. She did not mingle with the school children. Yes, I have won every race I ran in for my school, and I won the cup for the best all-round junior athlete. Yes, Nana said that she did not care if such things are not done. She would do it. You know what she did? She carried and the gleaming cup on her back. Gleaming means a shining cup, like they do with babies and other very precious things, and this time not taking the trouble to walk by herself. When we arrived in our village, she entered our compound to show the cup to my mother before give it back to the headmaster. Oh, grown-ups are so strange. Nana is right now carrying me on her knee and crying softly, muttering that thin legs can also be useful. Thin legs can also be useful, that even though some legs don't have much meat on them to carry hips, they can run. Thin legs can run, then who knows? I don't know too much about such things. So see how Nana, she understood, and maybe she has also felt that the legs might not support childbearing hips, but the legs were strong enough to run very fast and be a good athlete. This is Nana's realization at the end. Okay. I don't know too much about such things, but that's how I was feeling and thinking all along. That surely one should be able to do other things with legs as well as have them, because they can support hips that make babies. So it's not only this role that they will support hips that can make babies. Of course, women are there to have babies because this is how God has created them. But they are able to do more things than that, to do other things with legs. Except that I was afraid of saying that sort of thing aloud, because someone would have told me never to repeat such words, or else they would have laughed so much at what I had said, they would have cried. It's much better this way, to have acted it out to show them, although I could not have planned it. And as for my mother, she has been speechless as usual. So, of course, the mother was proud and she was speechless. She didn't know how to react. It's a great sense of pride that she feels for her daughter. All right, so this is how the story ends, and the story ends with the three women. They have a similar perspective at the end of the story, where the grandmother, you can say that she undergoes a change in her mindset. She realizes that legs are not just good for childbearing and not just strong enough to support your hips, but legs are also good enough to do many other activities that a girl should explore. Okay, so yeah, this is the story about women empowerment. I repeat, let's empower women. Let's not confine them to the corner of a room and just give them certain roles to play: cooking, cleaning, being a mother, being a good wife. Okay, yes, of course, I'm not demeaning these roles. These roles are very important. All right, but yes, she can do much better than that. She can do more things than that. Okay, so don't just have that stereotype mindset about women. And yes, I also want to ask you one more question. That, do you remember a similar poem which we had done in grade 9 about women empowerment, about not confining women to be in a certain role or in a certain space? I want to know how many of you remember that poem, and do write it in the comments and let me know if you still remember that poem. And yeah, that's all for today. So I hope you have understood. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with as many people as have a beautiful day ahead.